Now, Elder Lawya, desolation of abomination that was written of in Daniel. Christ talked about that. Let's go to Mark 13 and 14.
St. Mark chapter 13, verse number 14. But when ye shall see the abomination of desolation, spoken of by Daniel the prophet.
Now you see what Christ is saying to our people? He's speaking to our people in Israel. Now some people might ask, well, hold up. Isn't this white people? Is this Jewish people? No. I'm going to prove to you these are black people. These are black people. Hold that, Elder Lawya. And I need you to get Acts. The book of Acts, which says that the disciples were called Niger.
Acts chapter 13, verse number 1.
Read it.
Now there were in the church that was at Antioch.
In the church that was at Antioch. Now, mind you, Romans are European. Romans are white people. There was no white people in the church until Paul began to do what? To convert them as Gentiles into the Roman church. Read it.
Now there were in the church that was at Antioch certain prophets and teachers as Barnabas and Simeon, that was called Niger.
That were called what?
That was called Niger.
Spell that word for me.
N-I-G-R.
N-I-G-E-R. Exactly. And this is why they call us niggers. Because the apostles were called that by the Romans. It only means black. That means Christ and the disciples, the original church, were all black people until we began the conversion of Gentiles. It's not racist, it's the truth. The Romans were known pagans. And at this time, the Romans were predominantly dealing with a secret worship of Mithras. Just do the historical research outside the Bible. I know what the Romans were worshiping. They're blood drinking, child molesting, sacrificing at the helm of their religion. That's what they do. Black people were the original church. It's not me being racist or trying to empower myself as a black man. No. The Bible tells you that the first disciples were called Niger because they were black. The Romans are Edomites. They're white people. And the only reason they got an opportunity to stake claim to any of this salvation was because of a black man named Christ who died on the crucifix for the sins of the world. I mean, at least show some appreciation for those who were the forerunner of whom you claim to believe in. If it wasn't for black people having black people, there would be no Christ born in the earth to die on the cross for our stinking and for your white people's sins. Show our people, the people who born you, some respect. Read it again.
But when ye shall see the abomination of desolation spoken of by Daniel the prophet, standing where it ought not, let him that readeth understand.
Let he that readeth understand. Come on.
Then let them which be in Judea flee to the mountains.
Flee to the mountains. So what happened in 70 A.D., Vespasian and his son Titus came against our people. There was a lie in the earth that we were burning markets, that we were burning things. In Rome, there was a lie. Years beforehand, when Nero paid the military to dress up like Israelites to claim that something was going on in Rome, he burned 7 different blocks where the merchants were and blamed it on black Jews. And that was a pretext for them to now demonize us because why? They felt that Christianity was a threat to their worshiping of the prince, Satanist pagan religions. So they had to demonize us because why? We were peaceful people. We weren't looking to go against the Roman Empire. So they had to lie against us. The same way there's no Israelites anywhere right now that's looking to go against white people. But yet every time you hear about Israelites in the media, they're demonizing our people who know we're Israelites. That's the only time they'll put Israelites in the media is when it's something negative. They did that before. Vespasian and Titus. Let's read it.
Verse 15. And let him that is on the housetop not go down into the house, neither enter therein to take anything out of the house. And let them that is in the field not turn back again for to take up his garment. But woe to them that are with child, and to them that give suck in those days.
Read that again, that last piece.
But woe unto them that are with child, and to them that give suck and in those days, and pray that your flights be not in the winter. For in those days shall be affliction such as was not from the beginning of creation, which God created unto this time, neither shall be. And except the Lord had shortened those days, no flesh should be saved.
Now, now, folks, I'm going to show y'all this real quick, right? Now, a few months after this happened, a campaign came out in the earth to say that there was disease that's from Wuhan and it's affecting the whole earth. And eventually black people got to be the people who get something, right? Look at what happened in December. I wonder. You can't make this up. I mean, Esau isn't trying to be original at all. Right? I need y'all to check this out. Check this out, folks. 1 second. December 2019, 3 months before the propaganda you're seeing now that leading to the Colt 45 being administered, look what they had in the news, folks. Look what they said in the news. Huh? Look what they said in the news. This is from an article by Michael Gold, a Jewish guy. Right? 1 second. Okay. Let's go here real quick. Let's read it. By Michael Gold. Look what it says here. Now here it looks like, they got, a picture conveniently centered that states, look at what it says here. Suspect in Jersey City linked to Black Hebrew Israelite group. Now, they never pulled back this story, folks. They never pulled back this story because when it came down to you pull the layers, there was no connection between this guy and any Israelites anywhere. But it's out there. The Black Hebrew Israelites have been labeled a hate group. The suspect wrote anti-Semitic and anti-police posts, an official said. So they claim this guy was online writing anti-Semitic posts. Look at this convenient story. And look at the date for this. December the 11th, 2019. Y'all thought this went away, right? So now what we're seeing was their plan to get rid of Israelites who are now or get rid of people who are now in number turning from churches and coming back to their original origin. Same thing that happened during the time of Nero. An assailant involved in the prolonged firefight in Jersey City that left 6 people dead, including one police officer, was linked on Wednesday was linked. That means someone said, well, how can we link this random crime, if it happened, who knows, to Hebrew Israelites? He was linked on Wednesday. Now, folks, believe me, if it was exactly what they were saying, we would still be hearing about this story. Was linked on Wednesday to black Hebrew Israelites and had published anti-Semitic posts online, a law enforcement official said. What law enforcement official? How did you link it? What did you use to link it? And then if you see the Southern Poverty Law Center, know that this is a center set up by the devil himself right here. See? Why am I going there, folks? Right after this story broke, I went online and showed through some of their data how many black people now are realizing and knowing or think to some degree that we've been lied to, that they've been lied to. That blacks think or are starting to believe more so that we're the children of Israel. And then a few months after that, everything shuts down. We don't hear about this story anymore. And then all of a sudden, our people in the neighborhoods are the targets that need to be more so healed from something. Huh? You think it's a coincidence? Think again. There's nothing new under the sun. The same way a market was decimated, blamed on black people. It's the same thing that happened in 70 AD with Nero. And eventually, it allowed the Senate to make a vote to have military guard Jerusalem, like you see what's going on right now in Washington, D.C., where someone whatever that happened there, and there's military still there. And when during this whole campaign leading up to the election, there were what? There were canned vandalisms in certain key strategic cities where our people are what? Populated in number. And every place where the vandalisms happened up until the election, they left military there. Sounds familiar? Huh? How did we lose Jerusalem? The same way we're losing our communities now. We allow them to demonize us. We allow them to separate us, and no one calls it out. And because we didn't call it out back then, this is why we're in captivity now. Right? Let's go, Elder Lawyer. Finish reading what you have in Mark.
Yes, sir. Verse number 20. And except that the Lord had shortened those days, no flesh should be saved, but for the elect's sake, whom he hath chosen, he hath shortened the days.
So he hath shortened the days that the prince, the devil, in Esau has on this earth to rule. Because if he didn't shorten their time, and it's starting now, folks, this campaign is a soft kill. And like I said last night, a lot of people are going to make these choices, brothers and sisters. Be prepared for people you know close to you just magically come up dead. Out of nowhere, they're dead. And no one is going to tie 2 and 2 together. But you're going to know what really happened. Okay? They're strategically making this a black issue where our communities are. To strategically, and you're going to find out a lot of our people, in fear of not knowing what this is in our absence, are going to be making choices without telling us. And when you see our people dropping like flies, some you warned, some that you thought wouldn't do it, you're going to know you're in a desolation that was prophesied. But they're doing it, folks. They're doing it through the chemicals now. And they've been prepped us to receive this a long time ago. A long time ago, they began to program this in our subconscious. It started with execution through the electric chair. And they say, hold up, that's too inhumane. Inhumane, the person is dying. Then they came up with what? Let's do a more humane way of doing this, and let's make it where we'll give the family resolve through a lethal injection. And now, if you're on death row, they use lethal injections where you're sitting there and they're just putting this stuff up in your veins, and you just conveniently go to sleep, a peaceful way of crossing over. I don't know how old you are, but in the late 80s, early 90s, there was this Jewish guy going around putting people out of their misery called Dr. Kevorkian. Here it is, these people were suffering with a low quality of life and wanted an humane way of being able to cross over, living a life with low, with low expectations of it, a lower quality of life. So Dr. Kevorkian, being the good doctor to really care about people, was conveniently putting cocktails together to put people to sleep who were suffering. See, let me tell you, folks, it was being programmed in our subconscious the whole time for the time we are living in now. A desolation. Elder Lawya, let's get Luke 21 and 20 now.
Yes, sir. St. Luke chapter 21, verse 20. And when ye shall see Jerusalem compassed with armies, then know that the desolation thereof is nigh.
When you shall see Jerusalem compassed with armies, when you see that they have put in some type of what you would call propaganda that lead to high military presence, know that the desolations are nigh. The military presence isn't for what the media told us it's for. See? Because once they're in place to do what? Follow future orders. So when you see that vandalism going on, a lot of that, and we thought was Black Lives Matter, but you had white guys out there with masks on and all that, spraying Black Lives Matter, and the troops was going from city to city and Minnesota to Philadelphia. Oh, you thought that was all about black cops against white cops against black guys. And us standing up, yeah, let's go get us a PS, let's go get us an Xbox, yeah, let's get us a TV. Nah. Can't you see the government allowed all that and didn't push back? Even CNN, all of them was out there saying, yeah, you should go out there and we should do peaceful protesting. They wanted you out there. And what did we tell you? Do not go. Many people didn't listen because they needed the crowd. They needed the mob. They needed the mob as a pretext to say this is why military's in your cities now. Huh? Read it, Elder Lawya.
21. Then let them which are in Judea flee to the mountains, and let them which are in the midst of it depart out, and let not them that are in the countries enter thereinto.
So it says we have to make a trench. We have to put up a situation, a scenario where the people outside of Jerusalem will feel safe. So we have to make it where let's demonize these people to a degree where the Gentile nations don't push back against us from a PR standpoint while we destroy these people. So we must demonize them to give it a convenient excuse of why it's good to exterminate them. See? So when you see those stories out there linked to this, linked to that, folks, if there was an Israelite out here doing something, it wouldn't be no links or nothing. They would love a story where an Israelite actually did something out there. They wouldn't have to link it. One official said, he linked, there was something on social media. So they'll tie these stories together, a random thing, and they'll say black Israelites. Because why? They know there's no Israelites trying to do anything to people. They know that. The threat is our people waking up through Israelites teaching. That's the problem. Because you cannot teach a people of the law who would become convenient slaves to Gentiles knowing they're Israelites. They're looking at the future of their children and what happens if our children grow up knowing that we're not less than them. That's their problem. Whoa. Come on, Elder Lawyer.
22. For these be the days of vengeance, that all things which are written may be fulfilled.
All things that are written must be fulfilled. Read.
But woe unto them that are with child, and to them that give suck in those days, for there shall be great distress in the land, and wrath upon this people. And they shall fall by the edge of the sword.
They shall fall by the edge of the sword.
And shall be led away captive into all nations.
They shall be. This is Christ speaking now. There's not Elder Rawchaa. This is Christ saying that the people who went into captivity to serve other nations throughout the four corners of the earth are the true Israelites. This is Christ. This is Christ giving us the reason for captivity, slave ships, why it all happened, why the Gentiles rule over us naturally and have more than us. This is Christ. So you can't try to claim that this is some cult movement. This is some idea that just was catched up a few years ago by some Israelite and cult members. Nah, that's deflection, folks. Don't listen to none of that. Christ said that we're the Hebrews, we're the Israelites who will be led away captive, and that the Gentiles, the Romans, would be behind it. And you're looking at the devil on your screen who was behind it. Vespasian, a child of the devil, and his son Titus. That's history. Christ said it would happen, and it happened exactly like it was prophesied by Christ. And Christ was quoting the book of Daniel, that for our disobedience, we would lose Jerusalem for a time, until the times of the Gentiles be come in. Let's go, Elder Lawyer.
It says here, verse 24, and they shall fall by the edge of the sword, and shall be led away captive into all nations, and Jerusalem shall be trodden down of the Gentiles.
Shall be trodden down by who?
Of the Gentiles.
So who's in Jerusalem right now?
The Gentiles.
The who?
The Gentiles.
The what?
The Gentiles.
The
The Gentiles.
The what?
The Gentiles.
Those are Gentiles over there. Any Christian with any common sense reading this Bible would know that there would be no UN agreement to place people over in a land that's prophetically was given to a people of God. There wouldn't be there's no place in a decree, in prophecy, decreeing that the United Nations would set up a people to be God's people over in the land. So the land is desolate of her people. Now that we're thinking that we're Israelites, the Gentiles have become paranoid. Because they was like, well, if they know they're Israel, then they know that the land that we're fighting over belongs to them. And if they have hopes to go back there, they won't conveniently, live as slaves, being enslaved by our children in foreign lands. These people will break the New World Order if their children wake up. How can we instill the New World Order when the children of Israel have risen from the graves? They've awakened. They've been revived. See? Come on.
And they shall fall by the edge of the sword, and shall be led away captive into all nations.
And shall be led away captive, slaves, into all nations.
And Jerusalem shall be trodden down of the Gentiles until the time of the Gentiles be fulfilled.
Until the times of the Gentiles be fulfilled. So that means prophetically from the heavens, there's a time of judgment on the Gentiles who went into our land and stole our riches. Now you see why they are attacking Israelites now? Now you see why they calling being an Israelite a cult now? Now you see when it comes to any media, with all the good we're saying about following the laws, keeping our families together, doing what's right in our communities, but they're not saying none of that when the Israelites teach. When it's a lot of that out there, the only time the media, the synagogue of Satan, speak about Israelites is when they're parsing and putting together lies against God's people. That's their modus operandi. They are liars. Right? Now, Elder Lawya, let's go to Deuteronomy 28 and 22.
Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 22.
Proving to you that it was showed to Moses too. So Christ confirms it. The prophet Daniel confirms it. And then guess what? It was confirmed with Moses. Huh? Let's read.
Deuteronomy 28, verse 22. The Lord shall smite thee with a consumption and with a fever and with inflammation.
So hold up now. By actually not keeping the commandments of God, sicknesses, the Gentiles would be allowed to disease us. See? And if only they can get something in our bloodstream, in our veins. What would happen? Let's read.
The Lord shall smite thee with a consumption and with fever.
A fever.
And with inflammation.
Inflammation.
And with extreme burning.
Extreme burning.
And with the sword.
And with what? The sword, killing.
And with blasting and with mildew. And they shall pursue thee until thou perish.
Now you notice, folks, inflammation comes in many forms. And I'm hearing now that some people are suffering right after they get the situation. Inflammation of the brain. See? So that means our people would get targeted by the Gentiles to be diseased. Black plague, Hispanic plague, whatever you want to call it, we're the target for all the diseases. And the Bible prophesied they would target us with that. Right? Hold on. Let's go to the 25th verse, Elder Lawya.
Verse 25. The Lord shall cause thee to be smitten before thine enemies.
Shall cause thee for disobedience, because we don't listen as a people, to be smitten before our enemies.
Thou shalt go out one way against them, and flee 7 ways before them, and shall be removed into all kingdoms of the earth.
And the children of Israel, it was told to Moses, would be moved throughout all the kingdoms of the earth. We would serve the Asians. We would serve the Babylonians. We would serve the Edomites. And through that, they would become rich and powerful. Gentiles. But until the times of the Gentiles be come in. Their time is almost up. We're free when we no longer live the lie of believing we're less than them. And the only way you're not less than them, the only way is if you are an Israelite. Because Israelites, according to the Bible, are God's chosen people. Don't let people minimize your worth by bringing you down, claiming that all people are the same. You know we're all not the same. And they know we're all not the same. Don't let them minimize your worth by bringing them down in the gutter with them. No, we are above all people. See? See, because when you get there and understanding who you are, then you can build a healthy non-trust. If you believe all things are equal, you believe these people have no vices or not planning anything against me. Now, if I know I'm different than them, I can't trust them. Okay. Anything they're saying, anything they're doing, nah. I will filter your words through the words of God. And I'll lean on him in that understanding of whether or not I should listen to you. So automatically, when you know you're different, you don't trust these people because they say one thing and they do another. See? Finish reading.
Yes, sir. Jumping down to verse number 49.
Yeah.
And the Lord shall bring a nation against thee from far, from the end of the earth, as swift as the eagle flieth.
As swift as the eagle flieth. The book of Obadiah says, though Esau exalt himself as the eagle, pointing out a prophecy of the race of people who joined themselves with the prince, Edomites, Europeans. Now, are we saying all Europeans? Absolutely not. See, because let me tell you, even the white man knows that there's many white people out there that has our blood in them. So this thing goes well beyond the outward appearance. So they had to set up a new chemical way to actually attack a specific genetic marker. A specific genetic marker, because there's some white people who you may think are white, but our daddy's seed is strong. So you're going to see some white people suffering and dropping and all that, because you may think they're Edomites, but they have that blood up in them. And our blood, brothers and sisters, our father's blood, Jake's blood, is strong. See, we can have white people. I mean, that's been proven even through their science. So you may think you're going against a white. That's why I don't judge the outward appearance and say that I don't make a blatant statement on all white people. Because I know there's going to be some white people in the Israelite line, and we're going to be like, whoa, when Christ divided the nations. See? That's why I don't judge people strictly off of the color of their skin. Because we can have white people. Esau know it. Satan knows it. So he set up a genetic chemical that can attack a certain genome. Jacob's. Let's go. Come on.
Verse 50. A nation of fierce countenance, which shall not regard the person of the old, nor show favor to the young.
Come on.
And he shall eat the fruit of thy cattle and the fruit of thy land until thou be destroyed, which shall also eat thy corn, wine, oil, and increase of thy flocks and kine. Jumping down to verse 52. And he shall besiege thee in all thy gates.
He shall besiege thee in all thy gates. That's limiting travel. Gates is how we used to travel outside our province. They will make it where a specific people's travel is restricted. See that? You didn't know that was in the Bible. Now they're talking about all these new types of passports and all this stuff, at the same time saying only a specific people is really affected by this inordinately. Black people. Huh? I think people are getting... hey, folks, I'm looking at some of what y'all saying there. It seems like y'all putting two and two together. That's good enough. Right? Come on.
And he shall besiege thee in all thy gates until thy high and fenced walls come down.
Until thy high and fenced walls come down.
Wherein thou trustest throughout all thy land. And he shall besiege thee in all thy gates throughout all thy land, which the Lord thy God giveth thee.
Now we're going to jump right to it because it was prophesied and it happened. The Bible aside, history tells us, and I have Roman books, the fall of the Roman Empire. History tells us that the Roman Empire destroyed Jerusalem. That happened. The Bible tells you that Jerusalem was destroyed, and through that we would go into captivity. That happened. Who are these people? We are the children of Israel. Now, let's go into some history now. Put that down on the Lawya and see if Daniel, Jeremiah, Moses, and all that. Let's see if that's historically correct. All right? Because you have some people out there, simple as a day's old, arguing over 12 tribes chart. And I'm like, listen, I'm well beyond that. It's time to help our people now. You late to the party. That argument ended 7 years ago. 1825, Ethan Smith. He'll tell you that the 12 tribes charts is correct. That's 1825 before I was born. Ronald Sanders. Okay? A Jewish guy who did some research, and he did research to try to discredit the fact that Indians and others and the indigenous people of America was claiming to be the lost tribes of Israel. Ronald Sanders went in as a Jewish guy to discredit those particular accounts. And what happened? He found out it was true. That the Indians, the Balikwa Taino Indians, the Jamaicans and others, all these people are from the lost tribes of Israel. So don't let anyone tell you that REI came up with a sign and that Abba Bivens, nah, it's all crap. The sign is written of in Ezekiel, the 37th chapter, where Ezekiel tell you that to write on one stick, Judah and his fellows, and on the other stick, Ephraim and his fellows, and join them to one stick. That's the Bible. There is no two sticks, the Bible and the book of Latter-day Saints. Ezekiel 37 is the two sticks. Putting both of them together at the very end so that we'll know that we were separated due to sin, and Christ has come to tear down that middle wall of partition to bring back the 12 tribes of Israel like it once was under David. Huh? Now, so when you see people arguing the 12 tribes chart, understand you're dealing with low level people who need school. They're not even on the level to actually discuss how is we as Israelites can get up out of this mess we're under and come back to the laws of God. They want us to go into an argument about who put some charts together when it doesn't matter. It was prophesied that the 12 tribes of Israel would know who they are in the last days. And guess what? When you look at other people who put charts together, were they all perfect and right? No, they weren't all perfect and right. But at least they put in work to try and an effort to do what? To search for the people. You Christians aren't even doing that. You just want us to believe Jewish people are the people. At least they took the time and research to find the lost sheep of the house of Israel. And that's more than Muslims are doing, and that's more than Christians has done. Let's get it from Babylon and Timbuktu real quick, and let's get some out of the Josephus, and we'll end it.
This is from Babylon and Timbuktu, page number 84.
Read.
In the year 65 BC, the Roman armies under General Pompey captured Jerusalem. In 70 AD, General Vespasian and his son Titus put an end to the Jewish state.
Okay, read on.
With great slaughter.
So this man, this demon right here, and his son planned what? To trap our people in Masada and to kill us for the last stand that we would have as a people in Jerusalem. That's history. That's not religion. That's not a belief. That's history. Edomites, Romans coming against black Jews. Israelites, the original Jews. And again, I'm not saying that the Jewish people aren't Jews. I know they're Jews. They're Jews through conversion. They converted to Judaism during the time of Hyrcanus. They converted. But there's a difference between someone who's a Jew according to conversion or religion and our people who are Jews or Israelites according to bloodline and prophecy. That's the difference. I can't say these people aren't Jews because even Christ called them Jews. Even during the time of Hyrcanus, the Maccabees, we called them Jews if they converted and put down Satanism. But when you get into this academy and see what we're going to break down according to all religions, you're going to know that they didn't take the deal. They didn't operate with the deal right. And I'm going to go into that in the academy. Come on.
It says, during the period of the military governors of Palestine, many outrages and atrocities were committed against the residue of the people.
Come on.
During the period from Pompey to Julius, it has been estimated that over 1 million Jews fled into Africa.
Over what?
Over 1 million Jews fled into Africa.
How did we get into Africa?
It says, during the period from Pompey to Julius, it has been estimated that over 1 million Jews fled into Africa.
Fled into Africa.
Fleeing from Roman persecution and slavery.
Fleeing from the Roman Empire, the Edomites, and slavery. Read.
The slave markets were full of black Jewish slaves.
And the slave markets were filled with black Jew slaves. Which ended up with us going into Africa, being negotiated with, because some of our kings and all that, they had to keep their power by negotiating for arms to keep their villages together. End up selling us over here into the Americas in an agreement with Edomites. Africa is the Middle Passage. Now you put what the history we're putting together, we left Jerusalem. We were forced out of Jerusalem in 70 AD and ran into Africa. Africa isn't the motherland. It was a middle passage between our homeland, Jerusalem, and our captivity here in Babylon, the daughter of Babylon. You put that together, and you put this white guy, who's a Jewish guy who came together and did the research that the North American Indians and the indigenous people here were already here before the white man are all from the tribes of Israel together. And you'll know that what we're saying when it comes to the 12 tribes chart is absolutely, unquestionably true. That we're the children of Israel. We met our brothers over here. Our brothers was here since 721 BC. Almost 800 years, 700 years before Christ was born, the 10 tribes already started migrating over here to the Americas. If you think this is something, wait till you see what I'm going into tomorrow. The creation of the universe.